Though yet of Hamlet our dear brother's death the memory be green, and that it us be fitted to bear our hearts in grief, and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe, yet so far hath discretion fought with nature, that we with wisest sorrow think on him, together with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore our sometime sister, now our queen, the imperial jointress to this warlike state, have we, as 'twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and a dropping eye, with mirth and funeral, and with dirge and marriage, in equal scale weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Nor have we herein barred your better wisdoms, which have freely gone with this affair along. For all, our thanks. Now follows that you know young Fortinbras, holding a weak supposal of our worth, or thinking by our late dear brother's death our state to be disjoint and out of frame, colleagued with the dream of his advantage, he hath not failed to pester us with message, importing the surrender of those lands lost by his father, with all bonds of law, to our most valiant brother. So much for him. Now for ourself and for this time of meeting. Thus much the business is. We have here writ to Norway, uncle of young Fortinbras, who, impotent and bedrid, scarcely hears of this his nephew's purpose, to suppress his further gait herein, in that the levies, the lists, and full proportions are all made out of his subject. And we here dispatch you, good Cornelius, and you, Voltimand, for bearers of this greeting to old Norway. Giving to you no further personal power to business with the king, more than the scope of these delated articles allow. Farewell, and let your haste commend your duty. In the opening 10 lines or so, 15 lines, I'd like you to identify what the prevailing mood is, and then examine how Shakespeare creates it. What literary elements or rhetorical devices does he use? You want to focus mostly on these lines. Following that, what I would like you to focus on is what Claudius's plan is for dealing with Fortinbras. And then ultimately, at the end of this, what I would like you to do is, looking at the piece as a whole, analyze how Shakespeare characterizes Claudius using literary elements and rhetorical devices. You might want to pause here because I'm going to continue with different excerpts from Act 1, Scene 2. Take thy fair hour, Laertes. Time be thine, and thy best graces spend it at thy will. But now, my cousin Hamlet, and my son. A little more than kin, and less than kind. How is it that the clouds still hang on you? Not so, my lord, I am too much in the sun. Good Hamlet, cast thy nighted colour off, and let thine eye look like a friend on Denmark. Do not forever with thy veiled lids seek for thy noble father in the dust. Thou knowest 'tis common, all that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity. Ay, madam, it is common. If it be, why seems it so particular with thee? Seems, madam? Nay, it is, I know not seems. 'Tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, nor windy suspiration of forced breath, no, nor the fruitful river in thy eye, nor the dejected behaviour of the visage, together with all forms, moods, shapes of grief, that can denote me truly. These indeed seem, for they are actions that a man might play. But I have that within which passeth show, these but the trappings and the suits of woe. Looking at our introduction to the namesake of the play, Hamlet, I want you to consider why Shakespeare chooses his first words to be in the form of an aside. So you might want to look up what that means. And I also want you to focus on why he chooses Hamlet's words to be those that are pun. In this particular pun, he's mocking his relationship with Claudius, and in this, again, he's mocking his relationship with Claudius. After you do that, what I would like you to do is paying special attention to his response to Gertrude here, and his play on the verb to be versus seem. What motif does Shakespeare establish here? This is an important motif that he's going to be exploring throughout the course of the play, so you want to pay special attention to it. You might want to pause here because I'm going to continue on in this scene to examine Hamlet's first soliloquy. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. Or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. O God, God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie on it, ah fie, 'tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely. That it should come to this, but 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king, that was to this Hyperion to a satyr. So loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth, must I remember? Why, she would hang on him, as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on. And yet, within a month, let me not think on it. Frailty, thy name is woman. A little month, or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body, like Niobe, all tears. Why she, even she, O God, a beast that once discourse of reason, would have mourned longer. Married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married. O most wicked speed, to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets! It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. Shakespeare focuses and develops Hamlet's character throughout the entire course of the play with a series of soliloquies. This is the first. What I would like you to do is in your groups is to go through and kind of analyze how Hamlet is characterized throughout them and what specifically Shakespeare uses to create that characterization. For example, in the opening lines, I would like you to examine what Hamlet is torn about, what his ambivalence is. I would also like you to focus on what Hamlet seems to be the most upset about in this particular soliloquy. Also, might I suggest that you look up all of the different allusions that Shakespeare includes. If you're not familiar with a word or if it is capitalized, it more than likely is an allusion to something. So take some time and look those up to understand why Shakespeare included those. Again, what I would like you to do is examine the whole soliloquy and think about how Shakespeare is establishing and creating Hamlet's character.